The richest people in America paid a true tax rate of 3.4%, not 34%, 3.4. Your accountant never told you this trick exists, and it's completely 100% legal. Meanwhile, you're paying 22%, 24%, maybe more, straight out of every paycheck, automatically, no choice. The average American household hands over roughly 14% of its income in federal tax. Billionaires hand over less than a coffee tip. And it's not because they're hiding money in some Swiss vault. It's because the entire game is played by different rules. Rules that are sitting right there in the tax code, in plain English, waiting for anyone who understands them. By the end of this video, you will. Here's the trick behind the trick. The US only taxes money when it's realized. That means when you actually sell something for a profit. So if a billionaire's stock goes from $10 million to $500 million, on paper, they made $490 million, but legally, zero taxable income. Not $1 because they never sold. That single rule, tax gains only when sold, is the foundation everything else in this video is built on. Now, stack two more tools on top of that rule, and you get a system where a billionaire can live like a king and pay almost nothing. Let's start with tool number one. Tool number one is called stepped up basis, and it's the closest thing to a tax eraser that legally exists. Say a founder buys stock in their own company for $20 a share. 30 years later, it's worth $200 a share. If they sold it, they'd owe capital gains tax on that entire $180 gain, up to 20% federal plus another 3.8% surtax for high earners. Real money. But if they just hold it and pass it to their kids when they die, the IRS resets the price tag. Their kids inherit the stock at its $200 value, not the original $20. If the kids sell the very next day at $200, they owe tax on zero gain. $180 a share in profit legally erased forever. This one rule alone costs the US government over $72 billion a year in foregone taxes. And in 2026, an estate has to be worth more than $15 million before the government even asks a single question about it. But here's the part that made me put down my briefcase. That trick only works when you die. What if I told you the ultra-rich figured out how to live like billionaires for decades without selling a single share and without waiting to die? It's nicknamed Buy, Borrow, Die. And it's how billionaires fund private jets, mansions, and company takeovers without ever triggering a taxable sale. Step one, buy an asset that appreciates, usually stock in their own company. Step two, instead of selling it for cash, they walk into a bank and borrow against it, using the stock as collateral. When Elon Musk needed $44 billion to buy Twitter, a huge chunk of that financing was structured against his Tesla shares as collateral, not from selling them outright. Larry Ellison, co-founder of Oracle, has pledged billions of dollars of his own Oracle stock the same way to access cash without a taxable sale. Why does this matter? Because loan proceeds are not income. The IRS doesn't tax you on money you borrow, only on money you earn or sell for. So they get the cash, they keep the stock. And when they eventually die, tool number one kicks back in. Stepped up basis wipes out the gain for their heirs. Buy the asset, borrow against it tax-free, die, and erase the gain. Buy, borrow, die. Now, watch what happens when you combine both tools into one lifetime. Year one, found a company, hold the stock as it grows from nothing to hundreds of billions in value. Not $1 of that growth is ever taxed because it's never sold. Along the way, need cash? Borrow against the stock at a low interest rate, often under 5%, instead of selling and paying up to 23.8% in capital gains and surtaxes. That gap between the interest rate and the tax rate is the trick. At the end of it all, pass the stock to your heirs. Stepped up basis resets the tax bill to zero. Your heirs use a slice of that same stock to pay off the loan, often without owing capital gains either. One lifetime, billions in growth, a true tax rate that can round down to zero, and every single step, 100% legal, written into the tax code, available to anyone with enough appreciating assets to make it worth doing. Now, to be fair, this isn't a free lunch. Loans backed by stock still have to be repaid with real interest on a real schedule. If the stock price crashes, the lender can issue a margin call, forcing a sale at the worst possible moment, or demanding more collateral overnight. And this only works at a scale most people will never touch. You need serious appreciating assets to make the interest versus tax math worth it in the first place. So no, this isn't a loophole hiding in your paycheck. It's a strategy built for a very specific kind of wealth.
Here's the one sentence to remember. In America, wealth isn't taxed. Income is. And the richest people in the country have simply stopped taking income. They get paid in appreciation, they spend in loans, and they pass on the difference tax-free. Same tax code as you, completely different game.
So remember, gains aren't taxed until sold. Stepped-up basis erases them at death, and borrowing against assets gets you the cash today, tax-free in between. If you want Max to break down exactly how trusts take this even further, that one's coming. Follow so you don't miss it. Consult a licensed CPA or attorney before trying any of this yourself. Max isn't done, not even close.